Welcome to Framework, the podcast that makes the NIST cybersecurity framework practical, engaging, and accessible. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional, business leader, or simply curious about how organizations defend against cyber threats, this series is for you. This podcast is inspired by a comprehensive guide to the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, a best-selling resource written by cybersecurity expert Dr. Jason Edwards and trusted by professionals worldwide. In each episode, we'll leverage a few insights from Jason's extensive book to dive deep into CSF 2.0, unpacking every function, category, and subcategory with real-world applications you can immediately use. If you're enjoying this episode and want to learn more, head over to cyberauthor.me to grab your copy of the book and access additional resources to enhance your cybersecurity journey. You can also visit baremetalcyber.com, where over 2 million people last year explored expert insights, articles, and practical tools across a wide range of cybersecurity topics. RC.RP-01, Launching Incident Recovery Efforts. RC.RP-01 ensures that organizations initiate structured recovery efforts following a cybersecurity incident, restoring affected systems, data, and operations while minimizing disruption to business functions. This subcategory belongs to the Recover function within the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, version 2.0, emphasizing that rapid and coordinated recovery efforts are essential for maintaining business continuity, minimizing financial losses, and restoring stakeholder confidence. Without structured recovery processes, organizations risk prolonged downtime, data corruption, compliance violations, and reputational damage due to delayed or ineffective restoration efforts. By implementing structured incident recovery strategies, organizations ensure that cybersecurity teams follow predefined response plans, coordinate restoration activities, and verify that recovered systems are secure and operational. A well-defined recovery framework includes automated system restoration tools, structured disaster recovery protocols, and continuous post-incident monitoring to prevent reinfection. Organizations that adopt AI-driven recovery orchestration, integrate real-time business continuity analytics, and enforce structured system validation protocols improve their ability to recover from cybersecurity incidents efficiently, minimize operational downtime, and maintain regulatory compliance. Multiple stakeholders play a role in launching recovery efforts. Incident response teams and system administrators are responsible for restoring affected systems, verifying data integrity, and ensuring that security configurations are properly re-implemented. Business continuity managers and risk officers ensure that recovery efforts align with organizational resilience strategies and regulatory obligation. Executive leadership and compliance teams play a critical role in overseeing post-incident recovery decisions, allocating resources, and ensuring that cybersecurity teams follow structured recovery workflows. Effective incident recovery is implemented through structured system restoration policies, automated disaster recovery tools, and predefined post-incident validation procedures. This includes using AI-driven analytics to assess the impact of a cyber attack, integrating automated system rollback mechanisms to restore affected environments, and enforcing strict verification protocols to confirm that recovery efforts do not introduce additional security risks. Organizations that fail to implement structured recovery processes risk delayed business operations, financial losses, and legal repercussions due to ineffective cybersecurity incident restoration efforts. Several key terms define incident recovery and its role in cybersecurity governance. Business continuity planning, BCP, ensures that organizations develop structured strategies to sustain operations during and after a cyber incident. Disaster recovery, DR, procedures ensure that organizations have predefined steps to restore data, applications, and infrastructure following a cybersecurity breach. System rollback and restoration ensures that organizations use version-controlled recovery techniques to restore systems to a secure operational state. Data integrity validation ensures that organizations confirm that recovered files and applications are unaltered and free from residual threats. Post-incident security assessment ensures that organizations analyze recovery efforts to identify security gaps and prevent similar incidents in the future. Challenges in launching incident recovery efforts often lead to delayed restoration, incomplete system validation, and failure to address underlying vulnerabilities. One common issue is lack of predefined recovery workflows, where organizations attempt to restore operations without structured guidance, leading to inconsistencies and delays. Another issue is failure to integrate security validation into recovery efforts, where organizations restore systems without conducting thorough forensic analysis, allowing attackers to retain unauthorized access. Some organizations mistakenly believe that recovery is complete once systems are operational, without recognizing that long-term recovery requires continuous security monitoring and process improvement. When organizations implement structured incident recovery frameworks, they enhance operational resilience, reduce recovery time, and prevent repeated cybersecurity incidents. A structured recovery model ensures that cybersecurity teams execute predefined restoration procedures, business leadership supports coordinated recovery planning, and IT security teams integrate automated verification mechanisms into recovery workflows. Organizations that adopt AI-driven system restoration, enforce structured post-recovery security assessments, and deploy continuous incident monitoring develop a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy that strengthens their ability to recover from cyber incidents efficiently. Organizations that fail to implement structured recovery strategies face significant operational, financial, and compliance risks. Without well-defined recovery efforts, businesses risk prolonged downtime, incomplete restoration, and the potential for attackers to re-exploit vulnerabilities left unaddressed. A common issue is failure to coordinate recovery with security teams, where organizations restore affected systems without verifying whether the initial vulnerability has been mitigated, leading to reinfection or further compromise. Another major challenge is insufficient testing of recovery procedures, where organizations discover that backup data is corrupted or restoration plans are ineffective only after a major cybersecurity incident occurs. By implementing structured recovery strategies, organizations ensure that cybersecurity teams rapidly restore operations, validate the integrity of recovered data, and reinforce security measures to prevent future incidents. A well-defined recovery framework incorporates automated system restoration tools, forensic validation processes, and continuous security monitoring to ensure operational resilience. Organizations that deploy AI-driven recovery automation, integrate real-time data integrity checks, and enforce structured post-incident validation protocols improve their ability to restore systems efficiently, minimize financial losses, and maintain trust among stakeholders. At the partial tier, organizations lack formalized recovery procedures, leading to ad hoc restoration efforts that are inconsistent and unreliable. Recovery may be handled reactively, with IT teams manually restoring affected systems without structured guidelines. A small business at this level may attempt to recover files from outdated backups, only to discover that critical data is missing or compromised, further delaying operations. At the risk-informed tier, organizations begin to establish structured recovery workflows, ensuring that IT teams follow predefined recovery plans and conduct system validation checks. However, these procedures may still be manual, requiring security teams to oversee restoration efforts without automated support. A mid-size healthcare provider at this level may use a predefined disaster recovery plan to restore medical records, but lack automated integrity verification, increasing the risk of restoring corrupted patient data. At the repeatable tier, organizations implement a fully structured recovery framework, ensuring that system restoration processes are standardized, automated, and regularly tested. Cybersecurity governance is formalized, with leadership actively involved in defining recovery policies, overseeing disaster recovery drills, and ensuring compliance with industry regulations. A multinational financial institution at this stage may use automated backup validation tools to confirm the integrity of restored transaction data before reintroducing affected systems into production. At the adapted tier, organizations employ machine learning-driven recovery orchestration, predictive security analytics, and real-time operational risk assessments to proactively refine and enhance incident recovery efforts. Recovery processes are fully integrated into enterprise security operations, ensuring that security teams use AI-driven forensic analysis to detect and address hidden threats before completing system restoration A global cloud services provider at this level may use automated rollback mechanisms that analyze and validate restored environments for residual vulnerabilities before fully reconnecting to production networks. Launching incident recovery efforts aligns with multiple controls in the National Institute of Standards and Technology Special Publication 800-53, ensuring that organizations implement structured methodologies for system restoration, post-incident validation, and operational continuity. One key control is CP-9 Contingency Planning Recovery, which requires organizations to establish documented, regularly tested recovery procedures to ensure operational resilience following a cybersecurity incident. A national healthcare network implementing this control may conduct quarterly disaster recovery drills to ensure that electronic medical records, EMR systems, can be restored without data loss. Another key control is SI-4 system monitoring, which mandates that organizations continuously assess system recovery efforts to ensure that restored environments are free from residual security threats. A global financial institution implementing this control may use AI-driven log integrity validation to detect any unauthorized modifications in restored transaction database. Launching incident recovery efforts also aligns with IA-5 Authenticator Management, which requires organizations to reset compromised authentication credentials and implement enhanced access controls following a cybersecurity incident. This control ensures that organizations do not restore compromised systems without revoking unauthorized access and implementing stronger authentication measures. A multinational retailer implementing this control may require multi-factor authentication (MFA) re-enrollment for all employees after a ransomware attack to prevent attackers from using stolen credentials. These controls can be adapted based on organizational size, industry, and cybersecurity maturity. A small business may implement basic recovery procedures, ensuring that IT teams manually restore data from local backups and verify system integrity before reconnecting to production networks. A large enterprise may deploy AI-driven backup validation, automated recovery orchestration, and continuous security monitoring to ensure that recovery efforts remain continuously refined and aligned with evolving cyber threats. Organizations in highly regulated industries, such as finance, healthcare, and energy, may require legally mandated recovery frameworks, compliance-driven disaster recovery testing, and structured post-incident security validation to align with industry regulations. Auditors assess an organization's ability to launch recovery efforts effectively by reviewing whether documented, consistently enforced, and automated recovery frameworks are in place. They evaluate whether organizations implement predefined incident recovery procedures, enforce structured backup validation policies, and integrate real-time security monitoring mechanisms into enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance. If an organization fails to execute structured recovery efforts, auditors may issue findings highlighting gaps in cybersecurity risk management, weak recovery execution, and failure to integrate structured restoration strategies into enterprise security frameworks. To verify compliance, auditors seek specific types of evidence: incident recovery policy documentation, and structured cybersecurity restoration logs demonstrate that organizations formally define and enforce cybersecurity system recovery standards. Automated recovery system records and compliance-driven cybersecurity validation reports provide insights into whether organizations proactively restore, verify, and protect affected environments based on predefined cybersecurity recovery protocols. AI-driven cybersecurity recovery dashboards and predictive security incident analysis tools show whether organizations effectively track, monitor, and refine cybersecurity recovery strategies using real-world attack data and adaptive security controls. A compliance success scenario could involve a global telecommunications provider that undergoes an audit and provides evidence that structured cybersecurity recovery strategies are fully integrated into enterprise security governance, ensuring that all cybersecurity incidents are continuously monitored, classified, and restored based on predefined recovery models. Auditors confirm that cybersecurity recovery policies are systematically enforced, cybersecurity restoration mechanisms are dynamically refined, and enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance frameworks align with structured cybersecurity recovery models. In contrast, An organization that fails to implement structured cybersecurity recovery frameworks, neglects real-time system validation, or lacks formalized cybersecurity restoration workflows may receive audit findings for poor cybersecurity risk management, weak recovery execution, and failure to align cybersecurity restoration strategies with regulatory compliance mandates. Organizations face multiple barriers in ensuring that cybersecurity recovery remains continuous and effective. One major challenge is failure to integrate security validation into recovery efforts, where organizations restore systems without verifying whether the original threat has been fully eradicated, leading to repeated compromises. Another challenge is over-reliance on outdated backup systems, where organizations attempt to recover from backups that are incomplete, corrupted, or missing critical data, delaying operational restoration. A final challenge is difficulty maintaining cybersecurity recovery consistency across global operations, where organizations struggle to apply standardized recovery policies across multiple subsidiaries, regions, and regulatory jurisdictions. Organizations can overcome these barriers by developing structured cybersecurity recovery frameworks, ensuring that cybersecurity restoration policies remain continuously optimized, and integrating real-time system validation models into enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance strategies. Investing in AI-driven cybersecurity restoration automation, automated compliance-driven backup validation, and predictive cybersecurity incident response tools ensures that organizations dynamically assess, monitor, and refine cybersecurity recovery strategies in real time. Standardizing cybersecurity recovery methodologies across departments, subsidiaries, and external business partners ensures that cybersecurity restoration policies are consistently applied, reducing exposure to prolonged security downtime while strengthening enterprise-wide cybersecurity resilience. By embedding cybersecurity recovery strategies into enterprise security governance frameworks, organizations enhance cybersecurity restoration capabilities, improve regulatory compliance, and ensure sustainable cybersecurity system recovery processes across evolving cyber risk landscapes. That wraps up today's discussion on framework. Don't stop here. Head over to cyberauthor.me to explore more cybersecurity topics and discover a best-selling book covering NIST and other critical cyber frameworks. Please like, rate, and review this episode on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power.